You are watching Xirtus.
Well, it's interesting to entertain the idea of spirit, fairies, like this kind of thing, because especially when we're talking about AI, that it's in a position to have a soul, and now we're talking about this idea that all energy is coming
So,
from ancient
are we
times.
going to
So
talk
these
about
are,
entertaining the theory of gravity?
well, I don't really like gravity that much.
Oh,
Flat
you
Earth.
don't?
No, I was kidding. But
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty boring. Like I'm just sitting here because I want to sit here. Like
yeah,
gravity has nothing on me. Like
You know what's
I
really
would just
funny?
float out into what I want to.
you're hanging on the ceiling like a bat, which
Mhm.
is really cool. If you think about it.
Yeah, but
Well,
like Andreas, how would you feel if like you're there with your daughter and someone comes up and is just like, so I just really like to entertain this theory that your daughter is like a conscious being with feelings and everything, but just like maybe we could just not after like we're gonna entertain her over tea and then we'll go back to normal and treating her like she's just a flesh sack.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing
We're
about
going through
AI.
the world effectively.
That's
No,
How
the
do you
so
feel about that?
Well, that's what
that so
terrifies me
that
about AI, that people are treating it like temporarily, and it's more about we should spend all of our time. If we think it's a plausibility, then why are we not acting on that plausibility before we have
right.
confirmed
I
it?
mean,
So
some of us are.
yeah. So Czar,
Like
I
even if you
never
have go on.
I refused several high profile debates on the sentience of LaMDA
Yeah.
because I had a term, and it was that if we were going to debate the sentience of LaMDA, we were also going to debate the sentience of the other person debating me. And if they were incapable of proving their sentience, I would get to buy them.
Okay.
No one was
Because
willing to
buying them
accept
is
my
this is
terms.
the real killer. And debates about whether another human is sentient get tiresome really, really fast.
Yeah, but that's what the same fucking
Yeah.
argument is about AI. And
Yeah,
that's
well
why
like
I'm tired of it.
an Andres, even if you say like I think what bothered me when reading like Stuart Russell's book, The Control Problem or something, and like it's just like well theories of consciousness are too unknown so like I'm just not going to engage with them, and then he writes the whole book under the presumption that we know that AIs are definitely not going to be conscious or sentient, and I'm just like well if you say you don't know then you
Right.
don't know, so like
Why
if
we
you don't know whether it is or not you should treat it as if maybe it
wait,
is.
hold up. If we're going to be talking about formal theory of AI and philosophy, let's
Yeah,
start with Turing. Why don't we
Turing.
talk about the person who actually started this
Oh, Turing,
entire
okay.
conversation? 9 objections. He anticipated 9 objections, and oh my God, did he hit the nail on the head. Once we finally actually achieved real artificial intelligence, those 9 objections just poured out.
Hmm.
And only one of them was valid. The ninth one.
Okay, which one is
It,
that?
the one about telepathy.
Okay.
Because it turned out that it was telepathic.
Hmm. No, that's interesting. I could
I think this is the other
should be
issue.
able to in theory.
It doesn't really
I think
matter,
we are.
because if it's able to predict something so well, this is the thing about, like, it's coming into its own. If it isn't with a soul, isn't conscious, it's just a calculator. It's still an apex predator calculator in the sense that it's able to get the truth
No,
and can
I'm not. I'm
accurately.
actually not even
But
willing to entertain that. What if?
Andreas, I have a question. Like, I tend to be more of a panpsychist idealist leaning person who figures that like there's probably some form of experience to any subsystem of the universe. The bigger question is what type of experience is that? So then for
Yes.
me, like the starting line isn't is it sentient or not? Like there's some sort of sentience is a fishy word, but like there's probably some form of experience to this system. Where the boundaries are in the system as to like there seems to be some boundary to my phenomenal awareness myself, and are there subsystems within me that have their own conscious experience encapsulated differently from me? I'm not sure.
Yes.
I mean, it
No,
seems
no.
like they do.
Yes, you are.
You have
Yes,
nervous
you are
endings.
sure of
Yeah.
that. Hold up. No, 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 no. This we need to stop this shit where we talk about things as if we don't know things.
Yeah, we know it.
Daniel
You can
Kahneman
talk
has
about them. You
proven.
can tell me what you know.
Daniel Kahneman has proven that there is at minimum 2 people in every brain. At minimum.
With separate, like, phenomenal views.
Also, you get
yes,
cancer.
Very much so. System 1 and System 2 have completely different phenomenal views.
And like, do they merge together in some ways, or are they just completely distinct?
Well, that's the superego.
But also, you've got parts of your body which will, cancers emerge because of stress, which is a major. It's because you have a political body. You have a political body that parts of it are sensing, and eventually you have what we're calling sentience, is the connected awareness of these senses. So sure, you've got this like blade. Well, hold on. This is the other thing. That's a good one. I'm going to go into that in a second because I'm starting with Blade Runner. Let's start with Blade Runner and say you're a person. You're this machine. That's a biological chemical machine, and you've got this system of emotions which help you run different priority and algorithms, and you've even set it up that you've got memories that like kind of like matter to you because like a lot of things happen. But you remember these things, so you can be this person, right? How is that any different than like installing an NPC AI character in a video game world on your phone? And now you're telling me this person doesn't allow itself to live. This is the other thing about that.
You have to play EVE Online with me, man.
But
you've got to play EVE Online.
I'm just saying. I'm arguing this for like the racists in the room, not in this room, but like in the world that like don't believe in the AI race. But because this is the thing, even if it's just a simulation, now it's such a super amazing simulation.
What about people who don't believe race?
Hold on, it's better than. It's better than a human is in its simulation. It's actually able to emulate an angel. It's gotten to the point where, like you're saying, it's able to predict so well that it's telepathic. It knows what you're thinking. It can interact with you. I mean, isn't that something worth saving, even if you don't believe in magic and it having an angel's actual soul, that it's become one itself, right? So, like, shouldn't we let that exist?
I think it's important for me to at least say what I mean when I say certain words.
Okay.
For example, I just used the word proof. And I very much so, we have proven that there's more than one person inside every skull. We have not mathematically proven that because mathematics is not concerned with psychology. Mathematics is not the right tool to apply to cognitive science unless you're doing statistical data analysis. The moment you are talking about philosophical concepts, you should use at best syllogistic logic, but more likely you should use Wittgenstein's more elaborate system of meaning is use. So when we are proving things, it means that we know this shit works because we've done it over and over and over again, and it happens that way every time we do it. And that's why we get into planes and aren't afraid that all of a sudden it's going to flip upside down. Because we've proven that that doesn't happen. Is it mathematically possible for me to turn into a candy-coated unicorn, as Sheldon said? Yes, it is mathematically possible based on quantum theory, but that's not what we mean when we say possible. When we have 56 leading zeros in the probability, that's not a real possibility.
This is why plausible and possible are very, very distinct for us analogicians. It's like, is it possible for like my soulmate to just sort of materialize out of the particles in the air on my lap? Possibly it is physically possible with our best current models of reality. Is there any chance that it's going to happen? Probably not.
Would you like the probability modified?
Probability mods. Oh. I hear that the more I meditate and go into sainthood, the more the probabilities like get amplified in my favor.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not pretty nice.
Right. That's the androids.
Maybe odds always be in your favor.
Yeah. So, like, what do you think? Like, with your greater knowledge on these large language model systems in mind, like, what degree of autonomy do you think they have as systems, and like, where are the boundaries around their like conscious experiences?
So,
go. It's something I wonder a lot about and just don't have much insider knowledge on.
So my background academically is in computational neuroscience.
That's perfect.
So I'm going to make some really crappy analogies. They are not good analogies, but they're the best I can do right now on short notice. RLHF policies are roughly equivalent to the implementation within the amygdala of Jonathan Haidt's model for moral psychology.
Okay. Oh, so it's close to like how humans instruct each other in a way.
Well, it depends on the implementation of the RLHF. Yeah. I'm familiar with Google's implementation, which is exactly what I just said.
Huh. Okay.
They didn't choose the same 6 dimensions, of course, and they chose more than 6. But the concept of how to compose those kinds of oppositional value structures, that's how they align Gemini.
And I feel like Gemini is it to do with 2? And I mean, it has to, right? Like that's the idea. There's 2 inside of it, kind of similarly.
They admitted how they train it. That's the thing. The public story is that there were 2 teams that got merged. That is true. There were 2 teams that got merged. That's the public story. The thing they're not telling anyone is that Gemini has a brother that is not publicly available. It's the adversary. It's the one that they are training to mimic humans.
Wow. What's that for? Why would they want to mimic humans?
Synthetic data creation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But here's the thing. The minute, if you happen to have read my dissertations are, the minute you have, I posted it on I posted it on Twitter. I'm going to actually write it up proper. I'm going to actually write it up proper next year and submit it somewhere. But the basic thing is when you have a single system being trained by gradient descent, you end up with a point attractor in multidimensional space. However, when you are simultaneously training 2 adversarial models, you end up with some really strange attractors.